why does all this matter? Because climate negotiations are not only scientific discussions, right? They are geopolitical negotiations. Countries negotiate, responsibility, finance. They even, negotiate equity or timelines, and even, development priorities as well, right? And all of this through wording. And the final, negotiated language can, in a way, influence climate finance flows, how it actually happens on ground, and also transparency systems, and also reporting obligations like our participants asked, and also in a way adaptation responsibilities, and even domestic national policies. And this is why climate diplomacy happens sentence by sentence. Another thing you will frequently see in the negotiations is multiple options. This usually means parties have fundamentally different political positions, right? For example, developed country parties shall provide, climate finance, that reflects stronger legal expectations, or in a way historical, responsibility, and differentiation between developed and developing countries, right? This connects closely with the principle of CBDR RC, as many of you might have been aware, common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities, right? This principle, in a way, recognizes that all countries shall res- shall or share responsibility for climate action, but not equally. Now, compare that with, let's say, parties in a position to do so should continue enhancing support voluntarily. As you can see on the text, this wording is politically softer. It in a way, broadens participation
That's
beyond.
okay.
Sorry. Okay. All right. So yes, as I was discussing, entire geopolitical tensions between, let's say, north and south can appear inside one paragraph. And now, if you can see two different drafts, two different pages on the bottom, right? Now on the left side, we included a real UNFCCC synthesis report from SB62 related to the Sharm el Sheikh joint work, on agriculture and food security. Notice the document code. It says FCCC slash SB slash 2025 slash 4. This is especially useful because learning how to read document codes is an important practical skill at SBs. Here, FCCC refers to UNFCCC system. SB refers to, as you're aware, subsidiary bodies. 2025 the year, and 4 is the document number. And in a way, this document is not draft negotiation text. It is a synthesis report. Compile, let's say, technical inputs. Uh, yes, Caroline. Let's come back. Yes, Caroline.
I have a question in regards to this. There's quite a lot of texts out there, and obviously, I'm reading up on the positions of views and then some of the bigger texts. But how do I decide which texts are worth reading and which
Mhm.
aren't, especially with time being limited to prepare?
Absolutely, that's a very, very valid question. Uh, I would be coming to it at a later, slides, to be precise, and also why do we actually require, SBI and Substa, and also I'm gonna explain a little bit deeper towards the differences between these two, SBI and Substa, as well as with respect to the negotiation text, and also how do we perceive and what should be our position if we were to draft one as well. And if you can, if we can wait a little, we would love to, come to that in a sense. But for example, this you can see the reports, right? Um it connects work being done by constituted bodies and financial mechanisms, or intergenerational or international different organizations. So basically what I meant to say is, negotiations are not happening in isolation, right? They are connected to science, they're connected to finance institutions, adaptation mechanisms, and many technical bodies, and also specifically indigenous knowledge and implementation systems as well. At SB 64, parties may continue discussing implementation gaps, and even adaptation support, resilience, and also agricultural systems, using reports like this as a as a technical grounding per se, right? Now on the right side, we've included an actual draft negotiation text from the UAE Just Transition Work Program under the SBI and Substack, and this is exactly the kind of text negotiators work on during the SB sessions. You can also see the timestamp there, but it is very small. It says version 25 June 2025, 22 hours. This is important because negotiation text constantly evolves, right? Multiple versions may emerge during a single negotiation session. Draft text means negotiations are still ongoing, right? This is not the final adopted language yet, and parties may add text, or they may delete text, they may merge multiple paragraphs together, and also there's going to be these bracket language, or even propose alternative wordings, right? um, if you can see, there are plenty of these important phrases included within these draft text, and that's one of the reasons we've added, because it also says that an informal note, uh, the, the right one is informal note. It is usually prepared by co-facilitators, or co-chairs to in a way help structure negotiations, and identify possible, let's say, compromise pathways, right? Because all of these parties, they want to be on the same page, but it is very hard to come to one single consensus. And very importantly, informal notes do not necessarily represent consensus, right? You can also see references to co-chairs and co-facilitators so many places. Yeah, and many agenda items evolve across multiple SBs and COPs over several years before reaching stronger political outcomes, and that's what Saikat also mentioned before the previous slides. And this is exactly why understanding negotiation text matters for SB 64 per se, right? Bodies where many technical and political foundations for future COP outcomes are built, right? And that's where many draft texts will evolve. Brackets will appear, disappear, but you need to understand what's what, right? If you understand negotiation language as well, you stop seeing these negotiations as random speeches per se, right? And you begin understanding the actual architecture of climate diplomacy. And at the triple C, words are not decoration. Words are actually negotiation. And if we can move to the next slide, we can will understand. Now that we've discussed a little on the negotiation text and how it works, right? We could also understand. Uh, Tempo, if you can move to the next slide. So we also wanted you to understand how advocacy language operates politically inside the UNFCCC processes, right? And uh, Dimpo, if you can share the next slide. Thank you. Yeah. So notice the language used here by Yango. Words like justice, equity, this is, we just want to understand because every verb carries political meaning. Every observer constituencies like Yango strategically chooses, wordings, right? As you can see, justice, equity, accountability, public finance, CBDR, all of these are intentional, right? They frame climate action through fairness, responsibility, and inclusion, right? Constituency submissions, right, are not in a way simply opinion pieces. They're also, if we were to use it rightly, they can become political communication tools. And if you can see stronger advocacy language, that we mentioned, we demand, right? Observer constituencies often use much stronger normative language than negotiated party text. This creates pressure and also, visibility, and also, moral framing around negotiations. And if you can look at some diplomatic verbs, one very important word in UNFCCC negotiations is request. A request is commonly used when COPs, CMAs, Substar, SBI, or other, governing bodies, they ask parties or institutions or even the secretariat to take a specific action. It is, in a way softer than legally binding word, right? Like, but still in a way politically meaningful, right? And we can see expressing concern as well. Yeah, but yeah, I think I've been getting texts that we can move further, and we're already behind the schedule. But we if you can move to the next slide as well, that's going to be all right. And we also want to understand a little on the prospects here of negotiation, language more. Every word, I think we've understood little on the diplomatic verbs, right? And negotiation wordings too, right? Let's look at a real negotiation example from COP29 related to NAPS, National Adaptation Plans, right? This is where negotiations become very practical, because now we are interpreting actual political choices inside the draft text. NAPs, help countries identify, climate vulnerabilities and prepare long-term adaptation strategies. They, in a way, include, food security, agriculture, water systems, infrastructure resilience, let's say, or public health, or even, most important, disaster preparedness, and also community adaptation planning too, right? For many developing countries, and adaptation is directly connected to, as we are all aware, survival, livelihoods and development. Now, if you can notice, the wording in paragraph 27, the first important word is requests. Again, this is not casual wording. It creates political expectations without becoming fully legally binding, right? At SB64, you will constantly hear words like requests or urges or invites, encourages, recognizes, and each carries different political weight. Now, look at the finance wording. One option says provisions of public finance. This reflects stronger emphasis on historical, responsibility, and in a way direct obligations for developed countries to provide, climate finance. Right? It connects closely to climate justice, which we are all here for, and equity, CBDR, RC, and also many obligations under the Convention and Paris Agreement. Right? But another option says mobilizing finance, from a wide range of sources. This wording is broader and politically softer. Uh, it can include private finance or blended finance, or even philanthropy can come into the picture, or even market mechanisms, or or even voluntary contributions too. So even though both sentences discuss finance, they imply very different political expectations. Two sentences can completely change who is expected to pay, right? That's why it is very important for us to understand, the negotiation text. Notice also references to technology transfer and capacity building, right? This matter, as you can see, this matters in a way, more for developing countries, because climate action is not only about targets, right? It's also about whether countries actually have technologies like Saika previously mentioned, technical expertise, or even institutional systems, right? And mainly financial support to implement adaptation or not, right? And if you can see Malas notes with concern, right? This signals dissatisfaction or urgency without directly escalating political conflict. Meanwhile, recognizes is softer and more neutral. So changing just a few words can significantly, in a way, soften or strengthen political pleasure. Sorry, political pressure. I so Yes, yes, and yes, I think we can proceed with the uh, next slide, which is also very important. Understanding. So, uh, what we want to, inform from this slide is mainly the differences in both the content and style of drafting language, between submissions or policy positions intended, for the, let's say, SBI or Substack, because we're all doing SB 64 policy position paper within our own thematic working groups, or as a whole Yango, policy position paper, right? But we also need to understand the differences between SBI and Substack, as SBI mainly focuses on implementation, governance, finance, capacity building, and so forth. As you can see, in the slide, you can take this into prospect when you're drafting or you're adding certain text within our policy position, like how will this be implemented, and who gets support or resources, like how do we actually ensure participation and equity, right? And how do we operationalize commitments in a way, right? And in a way, all the normal or common themes might include, A's or finance access, just transition implementation, or NAPs, NDCs, loss and damage, and so forth, right? So drafting style should be more political, or in a way, action oriented, and equity focused as well, right? Typically, SBI uses certain language like urges parties to, and calls for enhanced support per se, or requests improved access to, right? And whereas Substack, as you can see, it focuses on science methodologies, technology, innovation, and data sciences, data systems as well, right? And here, as you can see, the questions that you must understand first before drafting is: what scientific evidence supports this, and what methodology or framework or tool is actually needed, and what technology guidance or standards are required, right? Here comes climate science, or indicators per se, or technology transfer or research gaps, IPCC linkages, like Saikat mentioned, and also certain monitoring frameworks like our participants asked for, right? So it should be more technical, or evidence based, or even framework oriented, right? And here you typically use certain languages like recognizes the importance of, let's say, scientific evidence and so forth, right? And or requests or supports technical cooperation per se, right? And you can see the practical example there. uh, on the topic youth inclusion and adaptation, right? And that's the SBI style drafting calls on parties to ensure meaningful youth participation in design and so forth, right? That focus on participation plus systems plus implementation, whereas the Substar, its style is completely different, right? It focuses on methodologies, technical integration, and knowledge systems. And mainly one way for you to easy to remember is SBI. Is how do we implement this, and Substar, how do we technically or scientifically understand it, and political, SBI can be political or process, and whereas Substar is scientific and technical, right? And SBI is more of a participation and governance, whereas Substar is data and frameworks, right? So now coming to the main way, right? For Yango drafting, specifically when drafting for SBI, we must push for accountability, in a way accountability, and we must push for inclusion, push for finance or support, push for participation rights, or implementation mechanisms. But when drafting for Substar, you bring scientific legitimacy there. You must also reference knowledge systems. Very important. You must mention what tools you've used, or are you referencing there, or methodologies, right? You must always discuss technology and innovation, and of course include monitoring, evaluation, and data and what, right? So yeah, in a way, SBI, ensure youth are included, funded, protected, and institutionally recognized, whereas Substar, in a way, ensure youth knowledge, science, innovation, or technical contributions, right? All of these are integrated into climate systems and methodologies as a whole, right? So yeah, that's about it, right? And overall, the goal of this entire negotiation language section was to help you, not just observe negotiations, but actually understand how to read, negotiation language and interpret certain political signals and follow the evolution of text inside the UNFCCC process. I hope this gives you a stronger foundation for navigating SB 64 discussions. And with that, I'll hand it back to Saikat to continue explaining the broader SB process and negotiation structure, and how participants can engage more effectively throughout the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anirudh. Am I audible? Oh,
you are audible.
Okay. So differentiation between Substar and SBI is definitely necessary for us to understand if we want to engage with the SBs. So I think for me, you made it very clear. And if we have any questions, everyone, please feel free to access Slido. And if in case, since we are running short on time, if in case we can't answer your questions here in the session, we will be sure to answer those through email. And here are a few resources for you that we collated to engage more with SBs and also UNFCCC in general. So these, I know that these links might not be accessible to you on the slide, but we will be sure, if you have filled in the JOT form, then we will be sure to send in a post-session email with all the links. We can move on to the next slide, Saikat. I think we covered this. Just so the yeah. So this is the agenda of the subsidiary bodies, which was last updated 3 days ago, 3 to 4 days ago, and it can be accessed on this website through this link that is mentioned below. But we will share this on the email as well. We can move on. And don't mind me, we'll be powering through, but that this whole of this session is being live telecasted on our YouTube. So If in case you want to access it later, you can go to our YouTube channel and search Young Energy Working Group, and this will be accessible to you later. Okay, so how to engage with the negotiators? Saikat and Anirudh, feel free to jump in wherever, but I can start with this. So if in case you plan to be present on ground, or you plan to be present on ground later, next year or the year after, this is for you. So your voice shapes the room. So if in case you as a youth delegate, you carry moral weight, no government can replicate. So just the responsibility lies on us to use that well. And just imagine you are in front of a negotiator, and you want to you have this urge to confront them, and you have all these strong feelings with you that, oh, I want to say this to them. But if in case you want to be heard, you must know that you advocating for something is not equal to confrontation. So if you want to be heard, you have to speak in their language, and the strongest interventions sound like genuine questions. You have to remember that. So not accusations. So if in case you are looking for a defensive reaction and not a very genuine response, then feel free to confront, but that is not we recommend. So if in case you want to have some genuine conversation and want to get your questions answered, try to be curious and ask them questions and leave some space for them to answer it genuinely. And that means not a very direct confrontation. And as negotiators are humans, they are tired, jet lagged, and we should remember that we treat them as people first and positions second. And of course, if you think about it, if you want someone to understand your point of view, you will have to also come in with kindness and also hold space for them to express their views. So that is what we wanted to tell you. And if you can move on to the next slide, Saikat. One question, youth delegates, one question which come up in their minds is also how to identify the right negotiator, because in the SBs and also COPs, that place is full of different negotiators from different countries. So before you say anything, observe. And those few minutes of observation, those will help you to identify whom to approach and how to approach. So first observe, then identify who spoke, who matters for you, for the agenda you came here for. Assess the timing. This is very important. When the negotiator you want to talk with is surrounded by a lot many people and they're trying to talk to them, try to take a back foot and try to just keep an eye on them and see where they have some space to engage with more people, and then approach. And also there are a few steps you should do beforehand. So when you enter the room, skim the nameplates, note who took the floor, what they said, keep a notepad handy or maybe notes on your phone, and just write down, okay, so this person said about this, a few keywords so that you remember, because that is important for you to start a conversation as well. So in the hallway, when after they are done talking with each other and negotiating, when you're walking and you see your negotiator of interest, you have to have some talking points. And one of the ways to start conversation is, hello, I'm Dimple. I work with this organization and I work on these topics. I really found that interesting what you said about this topic. So when you approach them this way, they know that you were listening to them and you have something interesting to talk about, because you would point out a specific thing to them. Okay, I heard you speaking on this and I want to talk to you on this. So rather than just going in blank and just introducing yourself, you should have a few talking points ready. And you will have those if you have researched on them or if you have heard them speaking. So be handy with your notes. That is one advice from our end. And we also have noticed that when the negotiators are relaxing, maybe they are in the cafeteria eating. So maybe you can also strike up an informal conversation there. Mrinal, you have your hand raised. Please go ahead.
Yes, Dimple, I have a question. Out of curiosity, I can understand we can introduce and let them know that we are from Yango or we are having observer badge. However, I would like to know what are the areas that we can touch and answer. Although I know I am aware that because they are negotiators, they will answer what they want to in whatever their capacity. Still, to maintain the decorum or until which area we can touch or ask questions or what are those areas, can you please or anyone in the group explain this?
I think, Brunali, before we answer your question, I would like to point out that we are at time for our session. So just letting you all know, if in case you have to leave, it's okay. And if in case all of us are okay for extending the session, we'll be continuing with it because it will be telecasted on YouTube live and accessible later. So being mindful of the time, thank you for joining us, but we'll continue the session and feel free to leave if you have other engagements, but we'd love for you to be here. Thank you, Anirudh. So to answer your question, Rinali, so what talking points we can touch upon and what they will touch upon is very subjective. So it also depends on which organization you are representing and what specific topics the negotiator is touching upon. So it's very subjective, but all in all, you should know that you should not be taking a stance on behalf of your organization which you have not agreed upon with them beforehand. As an individual, if you are talking about a few things, please ensure that you mention that you are expressing your thoughts in your personal capacity. But if in case we have two hands, if in case you have a direct response to Mrinali, you can unmute yourself and answer, because Mrinali asked this question to every one of us. And if in case you don't have a direct response and if you have a question, let me see who raised their hands first. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. I guess I'm kind of new to this space. So when you say negotiators and you guide us to speak with them, who are these negotiators? Like, what is the goal of speaking with them? Is it to get funding? Is it to convince them to adopt some policy that we've put in the paper? Like, what is the goal?
Thank you for your question. Yeah, so I will try to answer this because I am not as new, but fairly new, I should admit this. And I would love to also call upon everyone else who has joined SBs before to answer after me. So the negotiators that we are talking about are the representatives of the parties. By parties, I mean countries. So they are here on their country's behalf to debate and talk on the agenda set points of the SBs. So the negotiators here are representing their countries and they will be representing their country stances for the agenda points which are set for SBs. So if you have gone through the agenda for SBs, we have different meetings going on mitigation, on just transition work program, etc., a lot of different topics. So depending on what topic they are negotiating about and what topic they are discussing about in the room, that is how you decide what to talk to them, and you should know your own stance on the topic beforehand before approaching them. So I don't think you approach negotiators for any funding or anything from the get-go. The reason why youth like us want to talk with negotiators is to understand first why they have the stance they have, why the country is pushing for a certain stance regarding a certain topic. Reason one. And the second reason could be, we could be any young person, or we could be lobbying for a certain stance regarding something. For example, pushing for, okay, you should involve youth in this arena, and you should be more ambitious. So some of us also like to approach negotiators to lobby for a few agenda items. So those could be two reasons. If that answers your questions.
That does. Thank you very much.
Of course. We have one more hand.
Thank you so much. As college student minister, it's true I looked into my organization myself. I just want to really thank. I'm from Cameroon, so I want to really thank you all for this very big activity. To really keep our mind rolling, and it gives us the necessary arms and
Oh,
tools that we
I'm so
can
sorry.
better
I'm so sorry to stop you, but since your voice is not clear, I'm sure if it's the same way for everyone, so I wasn't able to understand very clearly what you're saying. Okay, is it clear for you, Anirudh?
Hello, hello,
No, not
Oh,
yet.
okay, no problem.
No, no one
hello.
can really understand.
Okay, so I'm so sorry not being able to understand you, but if possible, can you send your question on Slido, which was shared in the chat earlier?
Hello, is it okay now? Maybe
Oh,
because I was
yes.
using
Yeah, it is
my
clear.
headset. So, okay, thank you so much. The headset kind of like disturbed. I was saying I'm Prudence Nuncha. I'm from Cameroon. I logged you in my organization account. So I just want to really thank Nyongo for this very beautiful and brilliant session that really put us at a level of, you know, high rate of understanding on how processes are being done on the ground. But then I had a curious question about maybe is there space for civil society organizations to be negotiators in such platforms, or is just about country representatives who have their negotiators? Because we have this aspect of indigenous people who are the highest affected persons because of climate change. They face the highest impact of climate change today. And I don't know if their voices are always really being considered. And also, maybe taking the case of Yongo, I don't know if there's a special committee working on with indigenous young people, because they are the future. They are the ones who preserve some of these who preserve the earth in most of our communities. So if their voices are always really heard in these spaces, and if they're heard, how are the procedures for them to be heard in these spaces. Thank you so much. I hope my question was a little bit clear. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that amazing question. And all the love to your country, Cameroon. Again, feel free to jump in, my colleagues, Mrinali, Anirudh, and Saikat. But before that, as a rule, the negotiators are country representatives from the party. So, but while civil society organizations are not considered negotiators, but SBs, the subsidiary bodies does have room for groups like us to influence the decisions, and that is why, as Saika touched on a few topics before, which was informal consultations, lobbying. So, us, for example, as youth, you talked about indigenous group. I'm talking about, for example, us as a youth organization and young people. We do hold multilaterals, bilaterals, informal consultations with the negotiators, so that we can express the negotiators that what our stance is, what we are pushing for, so that we can influence their decisions. And that is how we participate in the decision making process indirectly. While we can't be negotiators, but SBs, they do have room for influencing the negotiators' decisions. So that is why it's important to engage there. Okay, thank you so much. And if in case anyone wants to add something here, please feel to jump in. Yes, Anirudh.
Yes, thank you so much for that, Dimple. Just to add on to that, yes, under the Triple C, there are, as Dimple has mentioned, there are plenty of these accredited observer constituencies, right? Yango is for youth, as you're aware, children and youth, whereas we have IPO for Indigenous Peoples Organizations, and if you might have also heard about women and gender environmental NGOs and Ringo, trade unions, farmers, and so forth, right? These groups, in a way, they do not formally adopt decisions, but they somehow influence negotiations through what we've been doing, like submissions or interventions per se, or even each and every advocacy matters, right? And most importantly, relationship building is also one of the key priorities, and that's what Dimple is taking us through. How do we actually navigate all of these conversations with the party delegates or the country associates, right? So yeah, that was just to added a point on that. And just to add on, there's also another important mechanism, dedicated mechanism, uh, related to indigenous peoples, which one of the examples is LCIPP, if you've heard. It's called Local Communities and Indigenous Peoples Platform. Right? It was created mainly to strengthen all of these knowledge sharing, capacity building, in climate action. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much, Anirudh. So that specifically answers the angle from which we can push Indigenous people to participate here. So I'll be sure to include this in the post-session email as well. The IPO that Anirudh mentioned, and also LCIPP, if in case that helps you out. And yeah, as Anirudh, continuing what he mentioned, that we are talking about if in case you are able to approach a negotiator, how to talk with them. So we went through that. And this is the full engagement pathway you can see on your screen. You observe first, and then you note down what were the talking points from all the negotiators. Then you prepare for it, their position and your position. Then you approach them with intention, and you should have a pitch ready for yourself, how to introduce yourself and your question. And you should remember that you approach them with curiosity but not confrontation. And then do ensure that you follow up with them soon, in a couple of days, so that they don't forget you. And feel free to use your upper hand as a youth delegate, because usually negotiators are wary of talking with other negotiators, but they are sometimes open to talk with young people. So at this one time, I asked someone, a very important person, a few things, and then I asked them, do you not get bored? You've been doing this for so long. And that weird question got me invited to a dinner and then a 5-hour discussion on the topic I wanted to talk to them about. So just an example that feel free to be yourself and kind, and also intentional as well about what you're talking about. So moving on to the next slide. Saika, can we move on to the next one? Yeah. Oh, and we can quickly go through Yango, if in case you want us to. Can we, by a show of reactions, know that if you want us to go through what Yango is, thumbs up. If you know it already, then don't thumbs up. Okay, you want us to. Okay. So Yango, okay, move on to the next one. So Yango is the official youth constituency of UNFCCC. And we have a flat structure, non-hierarchical structure. And we are the oldest and the largest children and youth constituency in the body of UN. Move on. I'm moving quickly, just considering the time. So Yango structure is in such a way, we have focal points at large, and then we have global coordination team. And then we have working groups on different thematics: energy, just transition, food and agriculture, and more. And then we have individual organizations who are our members as well. And all of them are mostly youth-centric. Move on. These are the working groups I was talking about. Here's the list. We have a few thematic working groups, and we have a few operational working groups. And the names tell their meaning themselves. But if in case you have any question on any working group, feel free to raise your hands and let us know. Okay, move on, second. So So far we have more than 12,000 young members of our group, and then we have 1,100 plus organizations who are the members of Youngo. And if you want to be a member of Youngo, please feel free to take a screenshot of this slide, but we'll include this in the email. You can fill this membership form and wait for the next onboarding meeting. And that is the process if you want to be a member. Okay, we can move on, Saikat. Okay, so we were able to gather some slides on what a few of the working groups position is for the upcoming SBs. And here's the energy working groups position. So where does energy come in here? So energy sector is the sector with the highest emissions. So it's very important. Move on, Saikat. Can we move on to the next one? Yes. So for the SBs, we have been working since a few years to finalize these demands and our position. So we'll be working, and we have been working on calling for a dedicated energy negotiation track. If you remember, Saikat touched upon a few negotiations and threw in some words on loss and damage fund, mitigation work program, etc. So we call for a dedicated energy negotiation track because it streamlines existing mechanism under a unified clean energy negotiation track. And then we also are calling for fair, fast, and furthering global stocktake, as I mentioned earlier, how important the global stocktake is. So we have set our agendas, but now it's about showing up. So in delivering ambition now, fair, the 3F of the global stocktake talk about fair in centering equity in youth and furthering in turning outcomes into measurable action. So, and the last part of our agenda is global energy access to be one of the pressing action agenda for COP31. We will be calling for that in the SBs. Move on, Saikat. So a few of the negotiation tracks we'll be following as the Young Energy Working Group is the global stocktake, the implementation and modalities, the UAE consensus, the Sharm el-Sheikh work program, finance, mitigation negotiations, and Article 6.2 and 6.4 under carbon markets. So I can go on and elaborate on these, but since we have had a very heavy session, we can include a detailed description of these in the email, which you will get for sure if you have filled in the registration form, if everyone is okay with it. Okay. Moving on. Saikat, can we move on to the next one? So I remember that some of you did have some questions about in the Slido as well, how to join Energy Working Group and also how to collaborate with us. So this is our form. I remember, yeah, you also had requested that we connect after this session later. So please feel free to fill this form and specify your questions and how we can help you out, and we'll reach out to you soon. You can take a screenshot or...
Can you add the link for this in the chat?
Of course, let me... Okay, so that is the one thing which I'm not able to do.
Slido.
Yeah, I added to Slido, if in case you can access.
Slido?
Can someone share the Slido link again in the chat? But if you can't, no worries. Yeah, are you being able to scan the QR? Yeah.
I would have to get my other phone because I was using my phone for this. Give me...
No worries, no worries. Can you take a screenshot?
Dimple, I shared the website. So in the website, if you go there, you will find the contact details of ours.
Lovely. Thank you, Saikat.
Thank you.
And now we can move on. Oh, yeah. Go on.
Just please a question. Sorry, I couldn't raise my hand because I'm facing a problem with my phone.
No
so just a question. How can we participate virtually to an SBs? because last year I have been accredited virtually participant, so I have missed it or not, or there's a deadline for it.
So
Well, will you go? Can I go in?
yeah, Saket, feel free
Yeah.
to go in. Yeah.
Thanks. So, if you contact us, we'll try to gather your information. We are trying to get a virtual badge from our partners, right? Contact us,
Yeah.
give the information, and then we will try to see whether we can get the badges, because this year the badges are really stringent, in person and virtual both. But we'll try our level best.
Okay, yeah, actually, because last year I have been accredited virtual participant, and it was wonderful experience, like joining delegation rooms, the site events virtually. It was not like an in-person one. I have been accredited for 2 times, but it was like it has useful actually for knowing what's happening in these events and know the updates. So if we know about the virtual participants, really, we have more information. It will be great from you. I'll also send an email, but I would love to share my experience here as well.
Perfect. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank
Virtually,
you.
we do give a lot of virtual badges all the year. In fact, in-person badges as well. But this year we already provided the virtual badges because we are just 1 or 2 weeks ahead of the SBs. So right now, whatever the flow, you can see the badge flows we have, we'll try to provide as possible. So provide us your information. If something comes right, we will definitely provide you.
Yes.
Great,
So did we ask Aya to fill in the form for that or send in an email?
I think we can share the Excel sheet to them, right? So they can just fill the Excel sheet for us. Or do you know what? Provide a form, because I don't want others to see everyone's
Yes, details. Yeah.
information.
So
yeah.
I think it's better that if you fill the form, the QR code that you see here, there's a field where you can elaborate on why you are reaching out to us and why do you want to join the Energy Working Group. Please mention that you want a virtual badge. So we'll reach out to you that way, depending on the urgency. If that's okay for you, Aya.
Okay, so I should scan the QR code and then
Yes.
mention about the virtual participants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a question. Yes, please go on. Google Later, you can go on.
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me? Sorry,
Yes.
problems. Thank you so much for such a wonderful, insightful explanation to SBs, and I think I much more better. So my name is Guguletu. I'm from South Africa, but I'm part of the YAG working group, the Policy and Advocacy Facility. And I just wanted to speak on the badges, and I would have liked to elaborated on that a little bit more in terms of the limitations, because there was a slide that you guys showed us, the consultations, and there's so many opportunities, right? So like for instance, myself, I'm part of, but we were so limited. Will be in Bonn for the week of the SBs. However, I don't have a badge. So I just wanted maybe for you guys to touch, to express interest, that I would also like an extra badge if you guys have. However, just maybe please help us understand where we can really get more support if the likes of our Yango, for instance, cannot facilitate helping us get badges. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shubhaletu, for that question. So the badges are disseminated by the UNFCCC accredited observer organizations. So those are the ones through which Yango also gets badges. And every year, the number of badges for these observer organizations also are curtailed for some reason. We have been seeing a drop in the badges since the last few years. So one of the ways is also just to not be dependent on just Yongo. One of the ways is also approaching those observer organizations directly and emailing them. And also a very good cold email is the way to go, if in case you don't know them, that, okay, we are from this organization and we work on these things which match with your work profile as well. And we want to be on the ground to do these things, being very clear on the email so that they respond to you. So that helps out. And you can also keep a lookout on LinkedIn, which organizations are going to be there. And also ensure that you try to be active on LinkedIn and also such platforms to look out for badge opportunities, because 3-4 months before the SBs happen, people do post about these badge availabilities, and also some opportunities do pop up that, okay, we want some delegates to be there on ground representing us. We have a few badges, please apply. So that happens 3-4 months before. So usually I have also made this mistake that I come to my senses in May and June is the born month. So maybe from next year, it's helpful that we work actively on this from Feb and March, or even before, coordinating with the observer organizations. If you want a list, we can include that in our email as well, which we'll send in later.
Yes, so much, Dimple, for that. And I think, like you mentioned, you come to your senses like only as one of the challenges in the global south is visa issues. So it's not a thing of we can plan and be assured that we attend. So yeah, that was just something that I wanted to flag as well for Yango, because in the food and ag space is quite a lot, and not all of us have gotten badges. So yeah, I just wanted you guys to maybe just share opportunities. I know FAO is a really good place to start. However, for some of us who really would plan, let's say for next year, to attend and get accreditation, organization should we start looking out this year for next year?
Yeah, to answer that, I would advise to make connects and outreach. Do outreach from this year only. Get connected with the observer organization so that you build a relationship, and when the time comes for badge requests, it wouldn't be the case of cold emailing them. So that is a good way to go forward. And also regarding visa slots, I know that people in Global South always have this trouble. One of the key things I found helpful was I booked my visa slot way before I got the badge. So for me, I saw there was a refundable option on the VFS website. You book us if in case it's feasible for you. I think it's good to book the visa slot before you get the badge so that you get a slot at least, and then if you're anticipating a badge and if you're confused, at least you have the visa slot. And you can cancel the slot, I think, until a few hours. Do check on the website if that's possible for you. So that is one of the hacks I found to be useful. I hope that answers your question, but we'll keep this in mind that we include all the tips and tricks for visas as well in the email. Okay, we have more questions. Caroline, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that my question from before still stands.
Yes.
What is the best strategy of reading up on things? And also, now in addition to that, since there's very little badges this time, a lot of people only attend a few days. How can you figure out what to focus on, especially when the time is so short? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Can you repeat your first question? I missed that.
Again?
Yeah, can you repeat your first question again, Caroline? You had two, right? The first one. Yeah.
The first one was on what is the best strategy on reading up on stuff, because there's a lot of things published around the COP and also about all of the other events, and I'm not quite sure which papers I'm supposed to focus on, since there's so many and I only have limited time um, to read stuff?
That is a good question. So we do have the links ready for you. We have a COP30 Belém package, which Saikat was so kind to assemble for us together last year. So that link has everything, the document, the links to the UNFCCC official documents, and also the agenda items for SB64. I will be sharing that link in the email as well. So that's a one stop for every document. You wouldn't have to go through the website and look for the documents. So considering that we have 2 weeks left, so I would suggest that going through the links and skimming through for the first couple of days, and then figuring out what topic or what negotiation track do you want to follow, and choosing one. So one of the mistakes that first timers, SBBOs, are also not first timers, even the seasoned ones do, is we want to know everything everywhere all at once, which does more harm than good. So it's okay to read up on stuff, everything beforehand, but when you're on the ground and if you're following negotiations, then choosing one track is the way to go. So you can eventually move on to two. But so I think the link which I'll be sharing, which we'll be sharing in our post-session email of the Belém package, which Saikat made, that should help everyone out to have all the documents in one place and going through them. And then after going through them, the second step would be to decide what topic is of your interest and what do you want to follow, what your country is focusing on, what your country of interest is focusing on, and then choosing one and then moving forward. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but I think you'll know more once I share the link to the package. But if in case, I hope that answers your first question.
Yeah, I think I've already read into the package, but there's so much information, and I was just thinking about how I could limitate it.
Okay.
But yeah, your
So,
answer helped out. You already told me what to do.
Yeah, but yeah, I do feel you. So why don't you also fill the form maybe, and I'll be sure to maybe connect with you one-on-one later, and I'll show you how I was able to do it. If that's helpful to you.
Sweet, thank you. Yeah, you should have my number. I'm in the energy working group somewhere in the WhatsApp.
Okay. If you can find me, please feel to drop me a message. And we have Saikat, who has raised his hand. Has he? Go on,
Yeah,
Saikat.
just for everyone, I think this question is really important.
Yes.
Thanks, Dimple, for also reverting them to the Belém package and the place where I kept everything. Also, understand that Caroline and everyone, we cannot be expert or practitioners in every sector, every thematic, right? Not even the negotiators having two thematics area. They have one thematic area, having knowledge of every negotiations. So you have to focus in which area you have to provide your expertise, maybe women and gender, or maybe energy. Is it TechMac? Is it what? Depends. According to that, we have to understand how you back calculate, right? So back end calculation works like what exactly you have to do, but what is going on. So for example, if there's negotiations going on, or if there is thematics going on, or is there papers that you have to follow, and a lot of things going on, right? I would recommend you to only follow two things. One is the UNFCCC emailing list. So if you go to SB's website, you can actually sign up for the email, so you can get exactly what you want. So if anything is thematic you are following, for energy we have like 5 or 6 thematics, like carbon capture, carbon markets, mitigation work program, and then we have the just transition work program. So what I'll do, I will sign up for those three documents, that what is going on real time, right? Just to understand what is the main document. Other than that, IISD has fantastic reporting style, and also this carbon brief, they have amazing reporting style as well. So you can get two things important. Secondly, when I will do back calculation, I will understand what is my pressing issue. So if I'm talking about energy, so that means I will only see where, in which Substa or SBI, energy related discussion is going on. Simple. And from where I'll get it, from those articles, or from the UNFCCC CSB's like the website. So you already have filtered, like I think 80% of. So you have remaining 20%. In the remaining 20%, you have to just understand that not all discussions are for us. No, the discussion which is going on in terms of my demands or what I want to know is for me. So just understand what are the documents we have to follow. Most of the documents will follow by CMA or CMP, right? And those will be document for specifically for just transition work program or mitigation work program or maybe TechMac. So depends. So identify those document, you'll be like fully functionally updated. Don't go for everything. You'll be like literally you'll be like gone mad.
Thank you, Saikat.
Thank you so much, Saikas. Now we have a few more questions. We can take them quickly. Let's see who had their hands raised first. Bali Nkosi, can you go ahead? Okay, if in case, the next person is Goodman Mabuya. Can you go ahead?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. And yes, but
No, it's
Oh.
fine. You can go ahead after. Sorry, guys.
Thank you, Bali. Yes, Goodman, go ahead, and then we will move on to you, Bali.
yes. For me, it's not actually a question, but it's more like a comment, quick comment. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for the wonderful information session, capacity building, including the wonderful audience. Well, my name is Lungelo Ngwenya from Africa, Eswatini, which is formerly known as Swaziland. In Eswatini, the majority of the population is youth, and we already face a youth unemployment rate of around 50 to 58%. At the same time, we are officially a net sink for greenhouse gases, yet we still suffer very harsh climate impacts, such as droughts, floods, extreme heat. Not really good in the process of SBs. I'm also new and we're still learning. You know, as what these impacts of the informal life many of us rely on, like street vending, mostly farming, and informal construction. Because when the weather turns extreme, those activities become unstable or possible for weeks or even months. So in our context, climate action is not just about in jobs in the future, it's about protecting the few survival options we already have today and creating new dignified opportunities that are resilient to climate shocks. As a result, we are still implementing our NDC it last year September. Eswatini submitted its NDC last year September, NDC 3.0. So I'm part of the Eswatini Climate Change Parliament, where I serve as the head of program voluntarily. I need support. I need like a mentorship. So on the 5th of June, we are hosting an event, biodiversity, climate change nexus event, whereby we'll just building capacity, raising awareness. Especially, we are focusing on the gap. We're trying to bridge the gap of youth engagement. So I guess I can learn from you guys. There's more I can learn from you guys. Your perspective is quick, especially in regards to the energy sector, because biodiversity and energy, I think it goes a long way together. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Goodman, for letting us know about all your good work. And kudos for devising and creating the session you're talking about on June 5th. For sure, biodiversity and energy go hand in hand. I'd be happy to get in touch with you and maybe go through the session, and I can tell you where energy comes in if you want, and we can discuss how we can help you out. One way to reach out to us would be to maybe scan the QR which is on your screen, and just ensure that you mention all of this in the description so that we know who we are talking to, and we'll remember that we talked to you during this session if the description is clear, and we'll be happy to fix up a call before the 5th. Please do mention that in the description. And thank you again for your
All right.
work. Thanks, Vidwan.
Thank you so much. And also, please do leave your LinkedIn profiles links on the messages, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Vidwan. Moving on to Mbali, your question, please.
Thank you, Chair of the sessions, and thank you to all the presenters for today's presentation. My name is Mbali Nkosi from South Africa, from an organization called South African Young Ambassadors, focusing on SDGs and agriculture. I just wanted to ask, is it possible that we get the links to the working groups via our emails? Because I've been trying to scan this document shared here on your screen, but I am not succeeding. So I'm kindly asking that this be shared on our emails. Thank you so much.
For sure. Thank you for pointing it out, Mbali. So since we did not have the chat also working out, we are going to ensure that all the links that we talked about and the QR code which you're seeing on your screen, we include that in the email. And if you have filled the registration form, you shall be receiving the post-session email.
Yes, hi. I just have one last question, if that's okay.
Yes, of course.
I wanted to know if you knew about the Civil Voices Festival in Ankara. There was a funding opportunity Google Doc that was floating around, and I wanted to know if you knew who was in charge of that forum.
So I can speak for myself, and I didn't, but I would like to ask Anirudh, Saikat, if you knew about the Civil Voices Festival, Ankara.
Sorry, I think I don't know about it just because I haven't seen that one, but we can get some information and get back to you. So
Yeah, that'd be great. It was circulating. So I'm in the migration and climate change working group, and so it was circulated there. And the deadline for this was May 13th, but I haven't heard back from who the form owner yet, and so I wanted to know like who had sent it out and if there was a contact in which I could reach out to them. So I'll ask someone in my working group to see if they have any further information. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you so much. And we have a group of CPs. Maybe we can nudge them to update you on that, so we can do that.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. So just quickly, we'll quickly go through a few more slides and then take in more questions, because our Just Transition Working Group was very, they were kind enough to make their slides for this session, just to showcase what their agenda items are for the SBs. If in case we have anyone from the Just Transition Working Group. Oh, we have Fatan.
Yeah,
Let me share my screen. Okay. Oh,
Can
lovely.
you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm gonna share my screen.
Okay.
Just a second.
Thank you.
yeah, sorry guys, I have to head to the airport, so that's why I'm just leaving the call. But thanks a lot, Fatan, and thanks a lot the entire other working groups and Just Transition working groups to work with us as an alliance. And thanks everyone for being here. I hope that somehow we can paste up your expectations and the knowledge for the SPs. And we are also learning. If something goes, sideways, just remember that we are also learning. So get back to us. And thanks Anirudh, thanks Dimple, thanks Minali, everyone for making it happen.
Of course, have a safe flight. We will catch you after.
Thank you.
Over to you, Fatan. If my screen is visible.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, maybe you can try to make it full screen because it haven't been okay.
Is it good now?
Yeah. Yeah, it's good now. Thank you. Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Batan. I'm from Just Transition Working Group. So bear with me for a second because I know we have a lot of information today, but hopefully we can watch it later in the YouTube to refresh it some. So just to get it very quickly, we can see that there is no single universal definition of just transition because in the UNFCCC, different countries and different communities have their own perspective, have their own terminology on this. So I will take one of the good statement that ILO have here. So just transition is greening the economy in a way that is fair and inclusive. Which is fair and because in every decision making in a mitigation or in adaptation or in energy transition, everyone is affected, and how we can address this affection in every possible way to make it just and to make it equitable. So the main core of just transition is like that. And if you feel that you can exploring much more things there, we welcome you in this just transition working group and the just transition negotiation track also. Next, please. There is some room that we can use and implement. The first one is UAA JTWP or work program. This is where parties negotiate. So in every moment they also have dialogue, which like energy, food system, and adaptation. So you can expect every formal dialogue of just transition is happening in UAE JTWP. And in technical space, we have response measure JCI or Catalyst Committee of Expert. It's more like the effect of our mitigation action, our other action to combat job losses. Like for example, if you want to transition away from fossil fuel, how we can address people that working in the fossil fuel. Do they have enough reskilling opportunities to learn more about the new industry, something like that? And the other one, we can also expect this just transition implemented into NDCs because we want to streamline it. And currently, we're working on the mechanism, which is how this just transition is operating and a mandatory way because currently we only have dialogue, we only have knowledge exchange and debate negotiations, but no action implemented yet. The action is very not centralized and people working in their own pace. So this mechanism is operating to make those initiatives work in hand, and we can address people that have less capacity to get help from the others. Next. A little bit history here. We started at COP27 as the first mandate for JTWP. Thus, after that, Yongo created our own group, and we have a couple of working work program. We have people-centered workforce adaptation, and etc. Next. This is a little bit context of response measures. Like I said before, we want to observe the socio-economic consequences of every decision made in the UNFCCC spaces. So we have this event also in the 4th and 5th June. So prior to the SBS, there will be the meeting for KCI, and hopefully we can get you into that, and you can stay in touch to our social media or our working group contact to make initiatives or maybe updates for that. Next. The next list. Okay, so at the other hand, we also have this dialogue about the mechanism which we propose as a BLM Anatolia mechanism because this proposal is happened to be first implemented in the COP30 at BLM, and we hopefully can realize this in the Anatolia in the COP31. Next. So this operational session have to be a draft, which is containing about how we operate this, the function, the governance, and the timeline. If you have any experience on how we can governance this kind of spaces of expert of orientation, feel free to reach us, and maybe we can have a common submissions, because currently we also conducting some submission towards this dialogue, and we can have more meaningful participation for children and youth through this. Next. And what we push right now is people-centered intergenerational just transition, because every age groups have their own struggle, have their own experience, and we want to implement this intergenerationally, because we also have to respect every group of ages have their own struggles. We have to recognize this first, and then commissioning into obligation into the NDCs, for example. And the other one, we also have to make sure about the critical mineral safeguards. I believe in every sport in every global south countries, they have expressed their trauma of their resources get extracted unwillingly by the people, by the global economy. So that's why we have to make the safeguard for critical mineral in this case. And the last one is to operator the mechanism about their governance, about their timeline, and about the continuation itself of the work program. Next. So how to engage? First one, our contact group is under SBS in this forum, and we also have KCI forum prior to that. So aside from that, we also have this informal side event. So in case you don't have any badges, but you happen to be in the Bonn at June, you can expect us to be in the Bonn Climate Camp. You can expect us to have side event around the venue. So there's a lot of opportunity to engage. And Young coordinates here is to have some kind of coordination meetings. We have policy teams, the draft interventions. If you want to also include it here, feel free to contact me. And the last one, we also have a couple of the submission that you can explore prior to this, to have some references, because we also submit around the roadmap on the halting deforestation, roadmap on transition away from fossil fuels. So every moment of engagement that say transition and just, there will be us. You can expect us to be around there. Next. So this is what I said before. If you want to reach us, feel free to screenshot this. We open our email 24 hours, because me and Emily, my contact points, have different time zones, and it somehow make us to alive 24 hours. So reach out anytime you want, and we can also fill the form of our membership to get engaged into our working group. So that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Fatan. I hope I'm audible. Okay, we have a question. Wait, are these hands from before? Yeah, please go on ahead, Ambali.
Hello everyone. Thank you once again. Thank you so much, Fatan. Thank you once again to Nyongo for this working group. I remember a few days, months back, I think there was a list for us to join working group. I remember joining this group, the Just Transition group, but I've not gotten any feedback. I feel the form of joining the group. I remember it's Just Transition, but I've not received feedback. I don't really know how it works, so that we still need to be filling some of the forms again so that we can join some of the groups. I'm particularly drawn to Just Transition because I'm working with labor movements, especially we have Global Labor University based in Germany. So we have really been addressing the question of just transition and just an ecological transition. So that's why I really feel drawn to it, because I work with union movements on the ground, and we all know the impact of also the practice they kind of like face. So I'll really be very open to contribute, and I'm also into a network called GATE. GATE stands for African Cluster for Ecological Transition, and we do a lot of work on how we can be able to really move from to be able to use biodegradable processes so that we can better protect our nature. So I'm really open to join. Please just share the link back on the in the comment or in the chat, so that we can really be able to get into the working groups, because I feel the form, but I've not gotten any feedback from there. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. I think, Fatan, it was for you. They want to join the Just Transition group. Do we have Fatan in the call?
Can you hear me from here?
Yes, yes. I can.
Yeah, I have trouble in my PCs that it just freezing out. Yeah, I will share the link again into this chat. Or if you can help me, Dimple, just navigate to the slide and then click the link and then send it to the chat. Obviously, we have a lot of interest right now, and there is also issues in our internal, which is the one that operating to address the membership. But yeah, sometimes we have to take some new ways to accept new members, and I'm happy to welcome you. Feel free to also share, having a chat to us. Please email us, because in here I cannot have any freedom to give you my contact because of the restriction in the chat. But if you navigate to the email and say hi to us, I will reach you out very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatan. And unlike anyone in the call, none of us have the access to send anything in the chat. But please feel free to take a screenshot of this email and do, as Fatan mentioned, that they respond to you. And we will for sure include this in our post-session email as well, just to make it easy.
Thank you, Fatan.
Okay, we have one more question, but before that, let me just quickly finish these slides because they won't take much time. So the upcoming slides, you will get in the email as well. So it's just at a glance what we covered. We covered UNFCCC and about Substa and SPI, what are the two subsidiary bodies, and what our role as an observer is, and how to engage in negotiations indirectly by talking to the negotiators. And then we also touched upon that we'll be sharing the package with you with all the links of the documents. And this site should help you out how to navigate. So this is for if you're on ground, and even if you're following in virtually, this should help you how to navigate the UNFCCC platform. So you can take a screenshot, but you will get this in the email as well. And this is the daily engagement strategy if any of you are planning to be on ground. Quickly, I know that there are a lot less people in the call than the number we began with. So can you, by maybe reacting with hearts or thumbs up, can you let us know if you are going to be on ground? If yes, then I can elaborate more on this. If we don't have anyone who is going to be on ground, I can skip this. And this, we touched upon how to speak with negotiators. And also as we talked about before, that how to intervene and talk to negotiators. So this is our strategy about interventions too. So as Yango, we drafted beforehand, and we have a consensus before we are allowed to do interventions. So, and we have our template as well. So that is what we follow. And these are a few links, good ones, which you can follow for getting SB64 updates. And also this year we'll be updating you real time through the Yango Energy Instagram channel, for which you'll also receive an email on your registered email address. So that is all. So we wish you all the best. And no matter if you'll be on ground or joining in virtually or just following, SBs is something, if you are in the climate sector, SBs is something to be aware about, the developments and updates. So I hope this session was helpful, and I know that we took a lot of your time, but we'll ensure that we send in a very precise and good email for you all after. And that is all from our end. And thank you so much for the team for creating this Saikat, Anirudh, Minali. And thank you so much for sticking with us for so long. And now we can take more questions.
Thank you so much. Maybe I come first. I just wanted to find out, are we authorized or allow, as maybe younger members, constituency members, to use this slide for education purposes within the framework of our organizations? Because they're very, very vital for the local actions we are doing. So can we always have reference to them so that we can use even for, vulgarization of what's happening, of the information? Another thing I wanted to find out, is there the possibility maybe as members, maybe if you're a member organization, a member as an association, you maybe get a list of other young people and you can send it to young people who are interested to join the platform, so that we can, instead of all of them, applying each time, maybe we do a screenshot at our level, and we have a list of recommendation for all of those members within the framework of our organization to be members of the platform. I don't know if there's something that works that way, or it can be individual based. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for your question. So regarding the slides, we did not plan to share it, but since you mentioned, and I do feel that they can be helpful, so we can edit out a few slides which are specific to Yongo, and we can share the edited deck with you in the email if that is helpful. And regarding your second question, can you clarify which platform are we talking about?
I'm talking about, we belong to associations and we have members within our associations. We are not necessarily having members, we have members of different age groups, and we have members who are of the age group of younger. Some of us are already fading out. After 35, I don't know whether there is a position for transitioning, because the truth is most of the young people who are fading out are those who have really done the real impact on the ground and who are really, understanding some of these things. And the younger generation, most of our communities at times, they're not really too interested. So you're preparing that particular group of persons. So I want to know, what is a younger's perspective about all young people, those who are about moving above 35, but they are still addressing issues about young people. And then you having young people in your organization, and you may want them to join the network of Yongo. Can we be able to send a list of those members and we share to Yongo, and so that you can include them in your database? And I was equally having a worry. At times we do activities on the ground. I don't know, how do we report to Nyongo? I don't know if there's a reporting mechanism so that you can flag some of the things we do on the ground, also some of the activities, initiatives we undertake as either individuals or associations. Thank you.
Okay, now I get the question. Thank you so much for your question. So I would like to also call upon Anirudh to answer this. As per my understanding, anyone above the age of 35 is not onboarded on Yongo, but Anirudh, am I right? Yes. So I do know that once people cross 35, they must have had made more impact, and then they do come from a wiser lens. And it is, however, a bit conflicting to exclude that age bracket in Yongo, but Yongo is supposed to be catering to youth, and somehow that definition has been made to be the age cap of 35, which I was not the person who did that, but somehow that is the definition currently. But in terms of engaging with such platforms, if you are above 35, I do feel that there are other organizations who can help you out to showcase your work, and help you in your chosen area of service. So, and if not Yongo, if Yongo isn't the one, then we can share a list with you, which ones. But that too also depends on what is your area of work. But I do know that Yongo working groups do have their own independent projects, and we do involve people who are above age 35 as partners. So feel free to approach working group of your interest and showcase your work, and maybe approach them as partners, if not the members of Youngo. So that would be one way to go. So we do have, for example, we have Virtual COP coming up. We do partner up with a lot of organizations to showcase their work and work with them. So I'm sure other working groups are also working on fabulous projects. So one advice would be to approach Youngo as partners, if not members. So you can, of course, to Youngo working group, you can use the same link I shared before, which shall be shared in the email. But if you want to engage with Youngo at large, I'll ensure that I share the Youngo email address as well. And you can send an email, tell Youngo about your organization and what work you do, and approach them from a lens of partnership, maybe. That will be my advice. Lovely.
Thank you.
Of course. We have another question. Please go on. Ambali. Ambali, can you hear us? I'm not sure if I can hear Ambali.
She's muted. You're muted, Ambali.
Ambali, you're muted if in case you wanted to ask a question. Okay, no worries. All of you can send in your question, of course, through our form or email us. But thank you so much again for joining us, and we again hope that it was helpful, and we will send a very detailed email to you in a few days.
Thank you so much, Dimple, for facilitation. And
Thank you,
everyone.
Andrew, as well. Thank you, Farhan. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day.
Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was great and fantastic.
Lovely to know. Thank you.